I just got a huge mistake in my AI coding assistant before it could break my app. In this video, I'll show you how I did that and how you can use the same method to code bug-free apps with AI. Before I show you what happened, you need to understand something important. The makers of the no-code tools like Replit and Lovable want you to believe that their app is just like having your own software engineer who reads your mind and builds working applications in seconds. But here's the truth. If you want something more than a simple prototype and you want to build production quality code that you can take and use with clients or even sell, you need to know how these AI coding assistants work and the types of mistakes that they make. And you also need to know how to prevent them from happening. In my experience building production apps with no-code tools like Replit, the native coding assistant for these tools makes rookie mistakes, sometimes even plain typos in the code. And they do that about 2 times out of 10. That doesn't seem that bad, but when you're talking about code, even one character can break your software. Even worse, the mistakes get compounded by the assistant forgetting earlier instructions, implementing only part of the code changes, and going off track to fix an unrelated bug. But there's a way to avoid all that. It's called the double AI assistant method, and here's how it works. Here's an example of why you should be using the double AI assistant method when developing in Replit. Here's what's going on. We're giving Replit Assistant commands that come from our development plan. So here's the development plan. This has been generated from the PRD, and it has been generated from documenting the debugging process that's already taken place for this app. So this has been generated by Gemini 2.5 Pro, the reasoning model via Perplexity, and it has given me specific execute mode commands to give to Replit Assistant. So what I'm doing here is, if you look at Replit Assistant, I'm giving it the execute mode. I am telling it, here's the first one, to implement these changes to a file called flowwise handoff.py Python file. And it's giving me a preview of the code changes, and it's giving me the changes that I propose to make. Then I go to Perplexity, my Gemini 2.5 Pro reasoning model, and I'm giving it the instructions. So I'm screenshotting everything. I'm showing it what Replit Assistant is planning on doing, what I'm prompting Replit Assistant with, the existing code in the file Replit Assistant will modify, as well as all the plans and all the context documents, right? So it says, based on the context from your development plan and debugging journey, yes, you should absolutely apply the changes proposed by Replit Assistant. And it actually tells me why I should apply those changes. It explains what Replit Assistant is doing, why it's doing it, and why it's the right next step. It says correctly simplifies the method, and it says the original code was overly complex and it's now simplified, right? So I went ahead and clicked apply in a Replit Assistant, which then introduced the code changes and made a checkpoint, meaning that the code was committed. Now, the next phase, the next task in our development plan is to actually connect the N8N receiver to this handoff service in Replit. The details don't matter. Just focus on what's happening now. And we have put in this prompt here. Also, we are making a very hard prompt to Replit Assistant because it tends to get ADD and go off track and fix unrelated bugs. So we're telling it not to modify anything else, not even anything else that may be broken or need fixing, to only work on this task. In this case, we're telling it to modify this endpoint to call the handoff service and to import the new method, to find the DB commit where the Redis data processing is saved, and immediately after the commit, call the new service. Over here on the right-hand side is you're seeing the difference in the code that it's planning on making to this file in API research receive Reddit data. So I screenshot all of this, and then I went to Perplexity, to my development coach, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and I said, great, now I gave Replit Assistant the next command from our plan. And I showed what the command was, and then I screenshot what the proposed code changes were in Replit Assistant. But here's what my second AI assistant said. Based on your development plan and the provided screenshot, no, you should not click apply. The changes proposed by the Replit Assistant are logically incorrect and would introduce a significant bug. Wow. I mean, mind blown, right? So we are being as precise and as directive with Replit Assistant about what code changes it should make. We're spoon feeding it the changes, not telling it verbatim how to make those changes, but telling it what the code changes should be. And here's the error analysis from Gemini. The assistant correctly imported the send to research agent function, but it placed the new code in the wrong location. Your instruction was to call the handoff service immediately after DB commit. This ensures you only send data to Flowise for sessions that have been successfully saved to your database. The mistake, as soon as the screenshot, the assistant added the new code after the entire try except block that handles the database commit. The sequence, if the database commit were to fail, the except block would log the error and raise an exception. However, because the assistant's new code is placed outside this block, it would execute. This would cause your application to trigger the Flowise agent for a session ID that was never successfully saved, leading to data inconsistency and errors downstream. This is precisely the kind of data integrity issue your N8N debugging journey document warns against. Correct implementation. So the send to research agent and the subsequent logging must be placed inside the try block immediately following the DB commit line. Recommendation, you should reject this change. When you reprompt the Replit Assistant, be more explicit about the location. Example, more precise follow-up prompt. This is incorrect. The new code must be played inside the try block. Find the line DB commit within the try block and place the call to send to research agent and the logger on the lines immediately following it before the end of the try block. Okay. So, by the way, this is why I'm getting off Replit. This is why as soon as this project is done, any new project, any new app I'm building is going to be built on VS Code and Claude Code, because Replit Assistant is just not that good. Even when you spoon feed it, it like creates brittle code. In the past, it's created duplicate API endpoints, created different session ID methods. Is so focused on what you're asking it to do right the second, and it makes mistakes like a junior developer. So you're going to see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to say what Gemini said. I'm going to go back and I'll say, this is incorrect. Please try the task again with the correct placement of the new code. All right, so we're gonna tell it again because otherwise it may get ADD and forget. So let's just copy what we told it just to execute right now. Okay. All right, let's see what it says. You're absolutely right. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it was going to do the code wrong. I need to place a handoff service within the try block immediately after the DB commit. Let me correct this. Oh my goodness. Do you guys realize how important this catch was? This would have caused so many downstream bugs. Yesterday, I spent 10 hours debugging downstream issues like that from a different service that was connecting my Replit app to an N8N workflow. And because of a mistake that was done originally and some brittle wrong code was written on the Replit side, I have like a long debugging thread of trying to fix the downstream issues downstream until we went back to Replit, looked at the code and realized it was wrong. And that took 10 hours. So this right here is how you catch mistakes early. And this right here is why I'm not trusting Replit anymore with future development of complex production apps. This is a rookie mistake. Like, we told it where to place the code. I could have gone in the file, and I'm starting to do that more and more and done a better job at locating the place in the code where the substitution had to be made, but it didn't do it. I mean, this is so scary. This is so scary. I don't know. This is undermining my trust in these code assistants. And I really, really hope that Claude Code, tongue twister, Claude Code is better at this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, since I'm about to release a whole set of videos that walk you through how to build the foundational skills to learn to code with AI, walking you step by step through the onboarding projects that our Vibe Builders Collective uses to learn to build production quality applications with AI. And if you'd like to join our collective and build with a group of product managers and tech enthusiasts, then make sure to subscribe to my Substack. I'll leave a link to it in the description below.